said go live. He went live. Welcome to another episode of Sitch Radio. This podcast is meant to be an audio newsletter for those interested in podcasting and or what we're doing here at Sitch Radio in the lovely city of Irvine, California. Now, with that having been said, we do serve customers globally. I have a host in Poland right now. We have hosts all over the country. So we have the capability to work with you remotely. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, give us a call. You can schedule a free consultation with us via the website, sitchradio.com, sitchradio.com. So today's show, we're going to kind of, I guess not really talk about much what's going on in the studio, but stuff that's coming up because Podcast Evolutions is just a few weeks away. We are super excited about it. Will Ferrell is going to be a keynote speaker. James Cridland is going to be a keynote speaker. So if you're, a lot of podcasters don't keep their fingers on the pulse of podcasting like we do here running a studio. But obviously, Will Ferrell has a very successful podcast, and James Cridland is deep into the podcasting space, doing the Podcasters newsletter and a daily audio show of podcast industry news. So super excited to talk about them and or hear them talk and just be able to mingle with all these awesome creators at Podcast Evolutions in Los Angeles. Tickets are still available. There's a link in the show notes. And if you cannot travel to Los Angeles or you don't want to, there is a virtual option. So you can do each track virtually if you would like to. That's that. Myself and a few of the hosts will be in attendance. So if you're going to go, hit us up. You can drop us an email, DM us, do whatever you need to do to get a hold of us. We'd love to meet you there in person and hear about you and your show. Moving on to I'd Podcast That 2.0. We dumped episode 31 this morning. Super excited about that. I'd Podcast That 2.0 is a podcast about podcasting, tips, tricks, show growth, social media strategies, equipment, etc., etc., etc. Now, Monday through Thursday is behind a paywall, a podcaster's newsletter on Substack, audio and video options. In addition to that newsletter, if you don't want to pay, you're going to get tidbits here and there. Friday show, for example, and our newsletter that goes out every other week or so, twice a month. That newsletter is growing. We're going to get a little more in depth with it. And we have the audio crossword puzzle that Joey so graciously puts together for us. The puzzle gets put out the first newsletter of the month, the answer key a couple of weeks later. So we'll be dumping the answer key next week for this month's crossword puzzle. I was thinking newsletter, but crossword puzzle. Now, Sitch Radio, myself, we are co-organizers of Business and Brews, which is a local Orange County networking meetup. It is meant to be business networking. And if your podcast is business lead gen for you, it's a great opportunity for you to come share what you are doing online in this offline in-person environment. Now, when I say co-host, there's a Chino Valley edition. We are the OC edition. Myself and a gentleman named John Campbell are going to be bouncing back and forth, handling every other week. Our first meetup under our tutelage is going to be at Taps in Tustin here, Wednesday the 16th, and that will be 6 to 8 p.m. Come grab a beer and meet some awesome people who want to network. It feels so good to get out into the public again. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to the Podcast Evolutions here in LA here in a couple weeks. In addition to that meetup, Sitch Radio does run a meetup, and we will be meeting the 15th talking about sales funnels. In addition to that, we've got a couple shows in the works that we will be soon releasing. I can't wait to announce them here on Sitch Radio and let you know what they are going to be doing. They're both in the business category. We're super excited about that. Our business category is growing. And if you're running a business podcast and want a little more studio support than you may be getting, give us a call, sitchradio.com. That is it for the week. Cue music. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the show notes below. Appreciate you guys listening and or watching. Until next week.